Hey guys, sorry if the lighting's a little weird and there's like a bunch of dusties flying around. Don't ask me. So I am officially 20 weeks pregnant, so I'm halfway through. I hit the halfway mark. This is not going to be a pregnancy update video. This video, which hopefully you can tell by the title, will be about the just infertility struggles that I went through before becoming pregnant. Yes, we know the gender. No, I cannot tell. I will let you guys know the gender after we do the gender reveal party and things like that, though. So I'm going to try really hard not to make this video too long, but at the same time, I want to just really go back in time and remember everything that I can, because there's so many women out there that deal with infertility issues, and not just because they're infertile, but maybe they're just struggling and just something's not going right for them, or they're just missing their mark or whatever. And I just really would like to make this video for women that are going through that, because I know for me it really helped listening to other women's stories. And there's even online groups you can go to. You can go and actually physically go to groups. It just really helps knowing that you're not alone through this, even though you feel completely alone most of the time. You're not alone. There's plenty of women that do this, that go through this. So if I can get this video filmed quick enough, I will probably follow up with a pregnancy update, of course without revealing the gender, but yeah, I'll talk to you about a few things with that. So let's just go ahead and, like I said, go through memory lane. So my husband and I just got married, but we've been together for going on 6.5 years now. And he is I know this is weird, so some things are going to get kind of personal, but I've only been intimate with 3 men, 2 before him, and my husband is the 3rd. I just was I don't know, very stingy with my stuff, and I just wanted it to be the right person who touched it. Anyway, so I got with him. We started speaking before I think I was 17, and then I actually moved in with him when I was 18. And then later on in that year, after moving in with him, I became pregnant, which was, I know, super early in the relationship. It was not a planned pregnancy. We was not trying to get pregnant. Just kind of had a mishap. But when we found out, we wasn't super disappointed. We just was ready to really just man up and have our 3rd child then, if that's what it was. And that ended up not happening though, because I actually ended up miscarrying at 18. I've only been pregnant twice. This pregnancy and my first pregnancy, I had a miscarriage. So after that initial miscarriage when I was 18, up leading to becoming pregnant this time, it took me it took us around 5 years to become pregnant. Because even though I became pregnant so early that first time, once I lost that baby and went through that experience, it was just kind of I really want one now. I want what I was supposed to have, and what I lost. So yeah, we tried for 5 years, and I'm going to speak to you about some of the process throughout those 5 years. As an adolescent, my periods were always really strange as it was. And it wasn't really alarming to anybody because my mom had went through the same thing. So many women in my family has been through funky little wonky periods. Where there just wasn't the typical, you bleed for 7 days, you got some cramps, a little bit of PMS, but you're alright. They were just very unpredictable. So anyway, my periods were never normal. Now after the miscarriage though, I don't even think that the doctors knew how far along I was, but I know I was super early. We're talking maybe 7 weeks or less. I was really early. But after the miscarriage, the doctors did want me to get a D&C, and I decided not to because at the time I didn't have insurance, and they told me that I had fully passed the baby. So it was I just felt I didn't need to, and that I was okay because I wasn't in any serious pain afterwards. So I skipped all of that. And I don't know if that messed me up or not, but after like 2 years of having really weird periods, like even more weird than usual, like my periods for so long, even leading up to becoming pregnant this time, they were just so unpredictable and weird. I would have crazy cramps all the time, even when I wasn't on my period, like severe cramps, like very sharp pains, feels like a knife stabbing, and I would go a lot of times 4 months without a period and 4 months with a period. I mean, it was like that, and the whole 4 months with the bleeding was serious, heavy bleeding, huge clots, disgusting, I know. But there were so many times where if I sat down for more than 2 minutes, and then, sorry if you hear my cat's bell, he's like playing with himself. But if I sat down for 2 minutes and then stood up, blood clots just like poured out of me. And so for so long, I had like the constant paranoia of, oh my gosh, I'm miscarrying again. Because I'm just having so much pain, so much blood. Blood clots are huge. So, I mean, I paranoially, or, you know, with paranoia, went to the doctors 2 or 3 times asking if I'm miscarrying, and every time it was a no. So finally I got health insurance, and I said, you know what, I'm going to the gynecologist because after 3 years of having unprotected sex with the same man and there's no pregnancy resulting in it, I'm like assuming something's not okay here. So anyway, going to the gynecologist, taking a bunch of tests, come to find out I have PCOS, which is short for polycystic ovarian syndrome. I showed every symptom except for the ovaries, or except for the brain farts again. The brain farts again. I had every single symptom except for cysts on my ovaries. There was no sign of cysts growing on my ovaries. And they said that my ovaries actually looked good. They said that my uterus was slightly tilted, but not enough to cause any infertility problems. Like even now while pregnant, she said that my uterus is not tilted enough to cause any type of issues. It's just barely, slightly, tiny bit tilted. So with PCOS, like I said, everything but the cysts on the ovaries. I had the wonky bleeding. I had the insulin resistance, so they put me on the metformin, which is very common for women with PCOS, that medication. Which that medication, for me anyway, when I first started taking it, it just caused like severe diarrhea. That's like one of the biggest symptoms with that medication. So I kept blaming the PCOS the whole time on not becoming pregnant because it can cause some infertility issues. I don't know if that's what caused it or not. I just know that what my actual issue was that I was not ovulating like normally. So I would have periods and not ovulate. I would basically bleed for no reason. And I'm just like, that sucks because I'm going through such severe bleeding and cramps, and there's like nothing good to show of it. So again, I went through so much like emotional roller coaster rides throughout this. You just literally hit your head. Oh, he is just like having a serious meltdown moment. Like, I don't know if he's going through the change or if male cats even go through the change, but my goodness. When you lay down on your back, tiger, and bite your own toes, there's something not right. So yeah, there's a lot of times where I would sit there and think to myself that I was like broken, because, you know, I just kept thinking as a female, I'm like literally designed to have children, and I can't even do that. Like the only things that separated me from a male was like not working correctly. And my family on my mom's side has a history of cervical cancer, which is hereditary. So it just kept freaking me out the longer and longer it took for me to become pregnant, because I'm like, look, my mom, I was like somewhere in her 20s when she had cervical cancer and had to have a full hysterectomy. So I'm like, am I running out of time? Like, literally, am I running out of time? Because most people are like scared of, let's have a child before 35, and oh, at 35 is my deadline. And I'm just like, I don't know when mine is. Even though I'm young, am I going to end up like my mom and have to have a full hysterectomy in my mid to late 20s? You know what I mean? So I was just really scared of running out of time and running out of chances. I did try some fertility medication. I can't remember. It was like the generic Clomid. I did like all the cycles of that. And that is just to like make your body ovulate, and it like helps you keep track of it and stuff. So it's just like, it's not necessarily something that's like going to just like grab the little spermie and push it right into your egg. It's just something to help you ovulate and then keep track of that, and hopefully, have intercourse on the mark. Of course, after all the cycles of that, it didn't happen. And then I had everybody in my ear tell me not to do it again, so I didn't. Infertility specialists, most insurance does not cover that, and it's highly expensive. So I was like already depressed about what's happening, but now I'm like more depressed because I can't even go and see a professional. Like, I remember I called one of my nearest infertility specialists and just asked them how much it would cost to just have like one appointment with him, just to sit down, tell him what's happening, and maybe he can give me a professional like opinion, because a gynecologist can only do so much. And I think they said for first time, like, people, it was still like $300 something just for him to sit down and speak to you. No tests, no nothing, not even a pap smear. $300 just for him to look at your face and maybe tell you what's happening. And then I went through the stage of, everywhere I looked, it was like everybody was getting pregnant again and again and again and again. And of course, there was many people out there that just do not deserve to have any more children, that just keep having children, keep having children. When I first, the first few times I went to the gynecologist, just sitting there in the waiting room and all the pregnant women coming in, it was like so emotional and stressful, and it was just crazy. But luckily, I had really great doctors to help me through this. I remember the first time I met my gynecologist, she already knew what I was coming in for. And as soon as I sat down, she was pregnant. And so now I'm already going through like the anxiety of seeing all these pregnant women come into this waiting room. Now my doctor's pregnant too. And she, before I could even get 2 words out of my mouth, she looked at me and said, if you're uncomfortable sitting with me, I can have somebody else come in and speak with you until later. If you're uncomfortable sitting in the waiting room, I can have you go sit somewhere else in a private room where you don't have to see it. Like, I didn't even say 2 words yet. I haven't even like introduced myself or anything. And she just like, I don't know if she saw it on my face, or if she's just dealt with this so many times that she just knew, if you're uncomfortable, I have no problem making you comfortable. So just from like day one, I just like fell in love with her, and I don't know, I just like trust her 100%. So I have a great gynecologist. And then dealing with like the depression and the anxiety and stuff, I went to see my primary doctor, and she said, look, I'd like for you to go and speak to a therapist if you want to. And I had already seen one therapist before, so I was okay with seeing a therapist. Don't make fun of people that go see a therapist. In fact, you need to go see one. Therapists actually really do help. Some people it helps, some people it doesn't. It's just people, receive things so differently, but it doesn't hurt to go try. So she set me up with the therapist, and I go and meet the therapist and come to find out that the therapist has also dealt with infertility issues to the point where she ended up adopting her children. So I feel like my doctor set me up with her specifically on purpose, because then she would like not just on like a therapeutic level, but on a personal level, would know how I'm feeling. And so that just like really helped me become comfortable and was able to speak to her about it. And she even told me like some of her stories, like how one of the first times she went to the gynecologist, she just like broke down in tears right at the desk trying to, sign in, and it just like, she would help me so many ways. So the only things that I can say to like help you is, one, listen to your doctor 100%. Whatever he or she tells you, do it, even if you think it won't help. And if with the PCOS, you need to make sure that you're getting plenty of exercise. And whenever she first informed me that I had PCOS and insulin resistance, she basically told me to have basically like a diabetic diet. So there was like, no pasta or breads, don't drink pop and this and that. Just a whole list of things that's different than what normal people can do. I'd also recommend lots of fruits and veggies. Like I said, make sure you're getting your exercise, drink plenty of water, take your metformin because that's supposed to help with the insulin resistance, and just have checkups with your doctor regularly and make sure that you are listening to them. Also, try to track your ovulation as best as possible. They make ovulation tests to help predict whether or not you're ovulating. Dollar Tree sells them. And I don't care what anybody says, those little $1 pregnancy tests is the exact same pregnancy test that doctors use. Every pregnancy test I ever took was from the Dollar Tree for $1, and they were always 100% accurate. So I'm assuming the ovulation test would be the same because it's like the same brand and stuff. So go and buy you a few ovulation tests for freaking 99 cents. Don't go out there and think that it's necessary to spend $20, $30 on 2 tests, because it's not. And just try your best to track your periods, your ovulation cycles, and also try to have like intercourse every other day, because you have to give time for that sperm count to build back up. If you're like, having intercourse daily, like 5 times a day, you're just depleting the sperm count more. And the like generic Clomid schedule would even tell me that to do, have intercourse every other day or so. And on specific days, actually. You can go and try to do infertility medication like the Clomid or the generic Clomid, because those you don't have to see a specialist for, and they're not near as expensive as what the specialist would have to do. But if you can spend the money, and if you're like super serious about this, go see an infertility specialist just to get a professional opinion on what's happening, because your gynecologist can help you a lot, but again, they can only do so much because it's not their profession necessarily. If you need to, go see a therapist. Do not sit there and downgrade yourself about it. Don't let anybody say anything bad about it. Don't worry about what other people think. You worry about your health, not everybody else. Don't be afraid to talk to family members and friends, because it does really, really help you to just be able to talk about it. And I believe in God. I am a Christian, so it really helped me to keep God involved in my faith and things like that. So if you are a Christian and believe in God, or whatever deity you believe in, put your faith in that God, and really it just helps the stress and anxiety, and it just helps lift so much weight off your shoulders. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps a little bit. And before I go, I am going to link down below this doctor that I found on YouTube that talks a lot about infertility issues and like things to help women with PCOS. And like some of his videos really did help me, and he gives out great advice. So I'm going to link his channel down below. Please go check him out. It doesn't hurt to just listen. Don't forget to subscribe for more content if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.